Hi, my name is Michael Nguyen. I'm known as the world number one customer retention expert and also an author of the book Stop Losing Customers Again. And I help advise customers on how to land new customers and never lose them again. So in this presentation, I want to share with you the ultimate playbook to thrive and generate more cash. Now, before I forget, if you were interested in the topic of retaining and reactivating lost customers, I suggest you to check out my book at StopLosingBook.com. All right, so we have a lot to discover today, and let's get started. So as you realize, we are living in the time where the economy is not doing well. There are massive layoff from chain stores such as 7-Eleven, about 880 U.S. employees, company like Peloton, Calm, LinkedIn, and they are laying up, doing massive layoffs, and even Amazon is shrinking staff by over 100,000, and that's a lot of people getting laid off, right? And when you also check the inflation rate in the US, that's 8.5% for the 12 months ended in July 2022. That's crazy, right? It's the most since November of 1981. Can you imagine that? You see companies, CFO company, they are reviewing the capital budget for saving. They are looking for places to, they're looking for spending that they could trim or delay if they need to tighten their belt. And apparently in this time of the year, cash is king. Cash is king as long as they can generate cash, because cash can help them, survive. Cash can help them, maintain or sort of weather the bad economy. So, and that's why I see opportunity to help company like you and to generate more cash and thrive in this. So those are the 5 areas I'm going to cover today. And so let's start with let's start with the first one, how reactivating lost customers can help you generate cash. Now, I saw a lot of people, a lot of company are making mistakes in this economy time, is that when time is tough, they tend to reduce the price to make sales, right? Because they think that, hey, when I reduce the price, I'll get more sales. That's really the common misconception over here. But I'm here to share with you another insights. I want to share with you 6 reasons why your customers stop buying from you, and price is not really the number one reason. So the first one is that number one, apparently start from the bottom up. I mean, number 6 reason is that you are too expensive, right? And that's one of the reasons that the customers stop buying from you. And number 5 is that they are moving away to some other places, some other city, countries, towns, whatever. So that's why they can't do business with you. And you have a lousy service. Apparently, they can get the experience that they like, and lousy service, they won't go back. And you have a lousy product. If your product were not able to help them solve the problems, they would leave as well. And the second reason is that there are many other alternatives out there, and they could find something else that could help them solve the product, that could help them solve their problems, and that's why they don't buy your products. And the number one reason is that they forget about you. They forget about you. So there you go. The 6th reason why customers don't return. So the cool thing is that instead of reducing price, you can do a variety of activities to help bring back lost customers, right? Not just relying on reducing the price. Now, moreover, the odds against finding new customers are stacking against you. The odds of finding new customers, especially in this time of the economy, they are stacking against you. And here's why. Forbes magazine estimated that it costs you 5 times more expensive to acquire new customers than the existing one. What's next? Oh, Apple privacy change on iOS 14 drives up the advertising cost and pose problem for Facebook and Snap. So what it means to you is that the cost to acquire, if you did advertising on Facebook or Snap, the cost of advertising, the cost to acquire one customer will increase, will increase. And what else? As you can see, the cost of customer acquisition, from all of the channels, they are increasing as well. What else do we have over here? Okay, so this is the result that we were able to help our clients. They sent out 127 letters, and 27 they were able to bring back 20% of lost customers. So let's go through an example on what that means to you. So I have a hypothetical case, right? So you have an average sales about $5,000, and you have 1,000 customers in your CRM system. Now, according to my to my earlier result, they were able to bring back 27%. Now, what if I were able to revive 20% of the lost customers? So that means is that you would make about 270 sales multiplied by $5,000 per sales. So that would be a $1.35 million. Now, what if you could upsell to 25% out of those 27% of lost customers for $1,000 per orders? So what that means is that you will net another $67,500. Now, the overall cash that you can generate from the effort of bringing back lost customers in my hypothetical case about 1.417 $500. That's a lot of cash, right? That's a lot of cash. Really help. Any dollars would help. I'd like to talk more about how reducing churns in this economy would help you improve your cash positions. So if you have any kind of membership or continuity program, that would really help. All right. So I saw the biggest mistake that company make is that they think that if you don't tell them, if I don't tell them that their renewal is up and running, they might not notice the charge. They might not notice the charge, but that's a big mistake, right? Because that's a big mistake because customer will call in if they don't want to do the renewal. They will call in and request the refunds anyway. So why not you take a proactive approach to reduce the churns, the annual churn rate? So I have 4 steps for you, right? So these are the process that I will share with you earlier, that I will share with you today. Is that number 1 is that you will tease the customers about what's coming up in the coming months about the renewals, right? We have to plan way more in advance. And number 2 is that you remind them about the benefits of being a customers or as a subscribers. And then you share a transformational success story from other members so that they can understand by sticking with your program, they would eventually get that transformation. And always include an incentive for renewing on time or early, because you wouldn't want to lose the entire year of membership. So why not just throw in a little incentive, a couple discount off, whatever, so that they can stay. They have the motivation to stay with you even longer. If you want to learn more about it, check out page 27 from my book, Stop Losing Customers. All right, so let's talk another way so that you can. So we talk about how reactivating lost customers can bring you cash. We also talk about how reducing churns can also another way for you to increase your cash positions. Now let's talk to the next one on how selling to the affluent can also increase your cash flow. Now, this is an article that I pick up from the Wall Street Journal is that in this economy, Samsung is still doing a product launch of the $1,800 phone, $1,800 phones, right? So apparently they do research and they think there's they're not really any kind of recession for the affluent customer segment. So as a result, they're willing to do a launch of $1,800 phones. And check this out. Tiffany, a jewelry store, is selling a $50,000 pendants. $50,000 pendants, right? In this economy, people are still shelling out $50,000 for a piece of jewelry. And what else? Luxury hotel catered to parents traveling with babies. There you go. There's another a data point that shows you, um, for affluent customer segment, there really no recession going on. Like they are still shelling out a big amount of dollars for product and services that really help them solve problems and fit their lifestyle. So what does it mean to you? It means more opportunities, right? And check this out. The Butler class suites, all-inclusive reports, cost you even $1,000 more per person per night, and seen a nearly 50% rise in bookings. 50% rise. You mean more demand, right? And they even charge more. So an opportunity is happening right here. So that's why I really believing that when you reactivating this affluent customer segment will help you increase your profit exponentially. And I have a case study to prove that point. So here's the case studies. I have about there's a few clients that I help them analyze. So they have about over 1,300 customers, and the total sales is about $2.3 million, and the average size order is about $1,700. So what I found is that something called the profitable case. The profitable case is a numbers showing that is the very minimum amount that your customer should be buying from you. So let me repeat, in this case, $2,500 is the profitable case where this is the minimum amount that the customer should be buying from them. Now, in the chart that you see here, you see the blue line and the black line. The black line it is the projected sales that they should have, and the blue line, they are the real data showing. Now, as you can see, there's quite a good percentage amount of customers are not buying up to $2,500. So that presents another opportunity that you can encourage or incentive that segment of customer to buy even more. And you see the blue line above the profitable case, that is the affluent customer segment that you can tap into in order to sell even more products at higher price. So for examples, I'll give you one example, and at $997 price point, and my model projects that they should have about 426 customers for total revenues of $424,700. Guess what? In the data that we found only 61 customers paying for a product at $997. So what that means is that you are leaving $363,905 of revenue opportunity that should have been yours, but all you need to do is to ask them, right? Okay, to make even more interesting, we did further analysis and find out the profit opportunity when charging them at different price point. So we start from the average order size, about $1,797 and then we start from the bottom. Now, what if how many customers and sales that this company should have got when they charged at $997 or $1,997 or $10,997, $50,000, $100,000. So as we go up, there are less and less customers, but the amount that you can charge are increasing exponentially. You see what happened? Okay, so by focusing on the affluent customers, we discussed about by focusing on the affluent customers can give you an exponential amount of profits. All right, so what are we going to talk about next? And we do a recap. All right, so the ultra profitable customer segment is in your list and hidden from your naked eyes. And it happens for all businesses across the board, whether you are small, medium, too big to fail. And when you find that segment, all right, you are potentially increase 5x, 5 times more profitable than your average sales. 5 times. What does it mean to your profit, and what does it mean to your cash flow positions when you were able to charge 5 times more than your average price? All right. You can also acquire your competitors or your vendors in order to increase the cash positions. In this time of the day where you want to reserve monies, you want to save monies, because you want to hoard as much cash as possible. Why would you want to buy your competitors or your vendors? I'll share with you why. And disclaimer: this strategy is not a good fit for everyone, but it gets the highest reward, and I'll show you along the way. Now, data from the market shows that the SPAC activity in July reached the lowest level in 5 years. And now SPAC is basically they are they are blank check firms that are willing to write any amount of that write you a blank check to acquire companies. And as you can see, because of the condition of the market, there are literally zero deals in July. So that means the more opportunity for you if you decided to go that route. And the wisest investors of our time, Warren Buffett said, we simply attempt to be fearful when others are greedy, and to be greedy when others are fearful. I think it fits into this situation really well. And apparently, the benefit of acquiring your competitors or your vendors is that you get even more cash flow, and you have access to new markets that you don't have, and you will inherit the entire customer list from the company you're buying from, and also the existing relationship you can have. And what's more, the talents, the pool of talents, right? We are in the highest inflation rate in over 40 years, and as well as the record rising wage across the board. So if you were able to acquire the talent pool, is the greatest benefit you can get. All right, show me the money. Where can you find the money, right? So like I said, this strategy is not replacing. I mean, you got to have some cash. You got to have some cash to acquire the companies, but this strategy will help you generate some cash to do acquisitions. All right, so you will acquire company by using either cash, equity, or seller financing. So let's stick with with those three elements in there. Now I'll go with you a case study here so you can see how reactivating lost customer can also give you a boost in the cash you can use to acquire companies. So in this case, assuming that you do a 50-50 deals, meaning 50% of cash, even no equity to make it simple, because equity relates to the stock price, which can fluctuate. So do a 50 cash and 50% of seller financing. So let's say you're buying a $10 million company in price, and you need $5 million in cash, because the seller will carry 50% in price. So the question is that how can you find an extra $5 million to close the gap? Let's say you get some money, maybe, let's say if you have half, $2.5 million, and you need to find another half, $2.5 million to put into the deal to really acquire $10 million companies. So how can you actually do that? Okay, and let's get back to the previous case that I help our clients. We achieved 27% of lost customer that we were able to bring back. Now let's see. All right, so let's see the average sales $5,000, and you need to make 1,000 orders to make up $5 million, right? And what if we were able to revive 27% of your lost customers? And assuming you have $1,000 in your database, right? So 27% of 1,000 customers with 270 sales, you multiply by the sale of 5,000, that give you $1.35 million. Now, what if we were able to upsell and achieve 25% revenue out of 25% of lost customers at $1,000 each? So got 270 lost customers that we were able to revive. You multiply by 25% of that and multiply by another 1,000. So the $67,500 is the additional revenue from the upsell. All right. When you add those two number up, you will get about $1.4 million. Not bad, not bad. All right. So what can we do next? Now remember in earlier that I shared with you where when you were able to identify an affluent customer segment in your list, you were able to charge 5 times more from the case study, or even in this case, luxury hotels, right? Now, what if we were able to help you identify the affluent customer segment, and then so that you can charge a higher price? So what that means is, so what if we help you identify the luxury customer segment so that you can sell at $25,000 package, and we're talking maybe about 5% of over 5% out of 1,000 customers that you currently have. So what that means is that the 5% of luxury customer segment at $25,000 package will give you a 1.25 million additional revenues. All right, so let's add all of the numbers up. So we got up $1.4 million from reactivating and doing upsells, plus $1.25 million from selling affluent package. So overall, you got $2.6 million, extra cash that you can use for the acquisitions. Now, remember, if you have only $2.5 million cash earlier, you can use what I'm teaching over here to generate an additional $2.6 million. All right, so that's way that should make the entire transactions happen, right? Because you have the $5 million to do the acquisitions. Apparently, that's just a hypothetical case, but as you can see, this is potentially give you the opportunity to acquire companies, acquire your competitors, acquire your vendors, so that you can not only improve your cash positions, but also you can get a whole a boatload of benefits from acquiring companies. And apparently, if you want to learn more about how to use the customer reactivation for your M&A activities, reach out to me, sending me an email with subject line of Stop Losing Service. This is my email, michael@PurdueResults.com, so we can learn more about how we can collaborate together. All right, and so besides from doing M&A, we can also help you generate passive income from power brokerings. So I'll share with you what that means. Now, some people share with me that M&A is risky and expensive. It's risky and expensive, but the reward, high risk, high reward, right? But I totally concur with you that M&A is not for everyone, right? So let me ask you this question. Do you know someone who does a poor job of keeping customers? Do you know someone who does a poor job of keeping customers? And the answer may surprise you because I know a lot of people, doing a poor job of keeping customers, and they think because the price is high, so that's why not a lot of customers want to do business with them. But like I shared with you earlier, now you know the insight about the 6 reasons why customers don't return, or those 6 reasons. So because of that insight, I was able to come from the position, say, what if I do all the work while you do nothing and take 50% of the profit? So let me repeat. What if I do all the work while you do nothing and take 50% of the profit? All right. How does it work, Michael? All right, I'll share with you how does it work. How that does work. It works by you will become a sort of like a power brokering between the seller and the buyers. In this case, that say if you knew somebody who is doing a poor job of keeping customers, and you want to connect them with me so that I can help them revive lost customers and do all of the upsell or strategy that I shared with you earlier so that they can generate extra revenues and extra cash. So those are the two value added that I share with you. Number one, to resurrect lost customers. Number two, to get more profit out of the existing customers. And apparently, we don't get paid if your friends didn't get the result, right? We promise them we can bring them lost customers and generate extra revenue. We don't, if your friends or colleagues that don't get the results, we don't get paid. And go back to the pledge that I said earlier, is I do all the work while you do nothing and take 50% of profit. And so let's go through one scenario to see how that means to you, how much that you will get, how big is the opportunities that we're talking about over here. All right, so apparently let's use the past performance of 27% rate that they were able to help bring back. So this is the earlier case study that I shared with you. Assuming, let's say you have an average sales about $5,000 and you have 1,000 customers in your CRM system. And let's say if we were able to revive 27% of lost customers, so it would generate about $1.35 million. And out of the 27% of lost customers, what if we were able to do an upsell and get 25% of the lost customer by an additional $1,000 orders? So that would translate to $67,000, $500. So totally, you will get about $1.4 million in the customer reactivation method, just by that, just by the $1.4 million. Now let's see what that means. So as I mentioned earlier, I do all the work while you do nothing and take 50%. So 50% of $1.4 million, that would be $708,000. Now, it's up to you if you want to cash out this money. Maybe I'm not a CPA or accountant, but I don't want to pay tax, but I want to pay 40% of tax. So that would, after the 40% tax, you only net about $425,000. So I don't know about you, but I'm not in a position where I desperately need cash. My business is doing well, so I don't need to get cash right now, right? And that would lead me to another way to save the tax or get even extra more profit. Now, what if you get a monthly paycheck for the rest of your life? What if you get a monthly paycheck for the rest of your life? Now, how does that work? All right, what you can do is that you can exchange the result for equity, exchange the result for equities. So in other words, so let's go through our example one more time. So let's say on point number 5, if you were able to generate about $1.4 million and your share of 50% is $708,000. And let's say at the point of the engagement, the company will value at $5 million. So $700,000 would represent about 14.17% of the company equity, right? Now, what if the company is doing about 25% margin after tax? So $5 million, they do for every month. Every year they will get about $1.25 million of annual profit. So when you get about 14% of equity in the companies and on the annual basis, you get a check of $177,000 per year. So you can do it. You can get check per month if you want, but that's your share when you have about 14% of equity. Okay, so now $177,000 And since this is more like a dividend, so you pay a different tax rate for dividend. All right. Once again, check with your accountant or your CPA. I'm not an accountant or CPA, so if that were the case, you will net, after the tax, your net amount would be $159,000 per year. So let's talk about another scenarios, like apparently, as long as the business is profitable, you get the check. No question asked. With the amount of effort that I put behind to consistently bring back lost customers and land new one for that business that you introduced, so you will continuously get a check as long as the company is still operates. Now, what if they sold the business? What if they sold the business? Let's go through some numbers so you understand what that means to you when they sold the business. All right, so we talk about number 5, where our effort would generate about $1.417 million, and you have about 14% of equity. And what happened, like with the effort, after 5 years, the company was able to double their valuation from $5 million to $10 million. At that time, the owner decided to sell the companies. Now, within 5 years, you have a check for the past 5 years at $177,000. So after 5 years, you get about $885,000 check, total amount check for 5 years. And imagine you still have 14% of equity earlier. Now, when the company sold, for say for $10 million, and you would get a $1.4 million. $1.4 million. So the total amount of cash or cash that generate over 5 years for you, including the sales, that would be $2.3 million. $2.3 million. That's amazing, right? And that's a lot of cash, and you should be thankful about that. So basically, it's just a hypothetical case, but like you said, just from one connections, and when I do all the work for you to bring back their lost customers, and as you see, this problem is pervasive, and it's happened for all businesses, whether small, medium, or too big to fail. It's all happening, right? So once again, if you were interested in, and if you were interested in doing this one, send me an email with the subject line of Stop Losing Service to my email at michael@purdueresult.com. And I can't promise that I can work with you, but at least we can hop on a call and find out if it's a good fit for us to collaborate.